You might be familiar with the fact that Japan is the promised land of harassment. For example, power harassment has been a problem in most Japanese workplaces for decades. This is when people above you in the hierarchy abuse their power and make your work life a living hell. And we also all know that sexual harassment is something that almost every woman in here sadly has to go through multiple times in their lives. But now, Japan is facing a new problem. Or I guess it's been here for a long time, but now people are talking about it, and finally the government is setting up a task force to combat against what Japanese call customer harassment, better known locally as Kasuhara. Here in Japan, the customer is always right, to such a degree that to me at least it's very awkward. The people who are working here are expected to put on a metaphorical mask and be on their best behavior when they are working. To some extent, it's great that you usually get great service, but then again, at times, I wish I could talk to a human being instead of someone who is acting like a robot. As an example, the last time I moved, I had this agent helping me find a new place to live. Anytime I said anything to him, all he would reply with was like, "Oh, Mr. Bahtis, you are so interesting, your stories are so fascinating, you're the best person ever." To which of course I was just like, the fuck? You're expected to serve the customer like a king in here, and it's pretty nice to get the treatment in supermarkets and restaurants. But then there are situations, like if I go to a repair shop, where I'd like them to level with me and talk to me normally, so that we can figure out what's the best for me. I think we can all agree that you can give good customer service without constantly kissing the ass of the customer. Because the customer service people have to act like this way in Japan, there are many Japanese who have started abusing this fact in order to act like complete dickheads.
いやでも店終わってからそうやって店のもの投げたりとかそんな脳が義をやられてんだよいや脳が義とかじゃなくてうちのスタッフに手出したりとかね店のもの投げたりとかいやビールは出せないっすってもう店終わりましたもんなんでですねお客さんだってこう投げたじゃないですかわからねえないやわからなくないですよわからねえないや椅子投げてったことは間違いないんでだから何したって、椅子投げてったじゃないですか
In general, people in customer service are expected to just take any abuse they get, keep their head down, apologize constantly, and act like they're in the wrong, even if they aren't. People like this are easy targets and punching bags for all the Japanese Karens. I'm not saying bad customers don't exist in other countries, but it feels like it's the national sport in here. And what's worse, these people who are working overtime in minimum wage jobs are just expected to take it, and even their bosses won't step up and tell the customer to leave. Instead, they end up just bowing down to the customer, like in this situation where the manager has to join the young workers in apologizing for the shouting customer. Kasuhara is something you see pretty often, and many times before, even this current crackdown, whenever people have brought up the topic of Japan being the mecca of politeness to me, I've talked to them exactly about this problem. なんでみんなスタッフ頭使わないよ。ロボットかお前や。覚えて言ってること。頭覚えて言ってること。なんで？最低。最低。何そのまま最低にしてるお前たち。So many times I've seen this, and it's always incredibly awkward to try and eat in a restaurant when some old guy is shouting to the young waitress next to your ear. Every time I see it, I fantasize about how I would tell them to shut up, and then the whole restaurant would stand up and clap. But the fact is, as a gaijin, I'm a second-class citizen in Japan, and a filthy foreigner like me telling a proud Japanese old man to shut up would only make things worse. So why do the people do this? Well, Japan is a hierarchical society with lots of problems, and it's a never-ending cycle. At some point, you get harassed by your boss or by your customers, and then you pay it forward whenever you get the chance. Because there are no repercussions to you, and no matter how much you berate them, they will just keep their head down and apologize. But that's kind of going too deep. The simple fact is that these people are assholes. Sure, the reason they probably do this is because they have issues in their lives and they are spreading their own misery to people around them who are willing to take their abuse. But that is not an excuse to be a dickhead. Customers abusing their power is a problem that Japan has had for a while, and now finally the government is trying to fight against it. The plan from Tokyo Metropolitan Government is to establish the first customer harassment prevention regulation. I just don't know how much gathering a think tank and spending millions of dollars on posters and advertisement telling people to not be Karens is going to help. Because honestly, how do you cure someone from being an asshole? I don't know.